In the world of WWE, we don't do drafts anymore. We do shakeups. It's time to shake things up.
B loop, B loop.
All right, guys. So the Superstar Shakeup just finished. 2 days after WrestleMania. Well, the week after WrestleMania. Well, the week after the day after WrestleMania. You know, that time. And so that means Superstar Shakeup time. And this year, a little bit more even than other years. But I'm not going to talk about every single one of the Superstar Shakeups. No! I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. Some of the big ones, the ones I think are going to have some serious impacts in the careers of some of the competitors. So I'm not going to mention Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm not going to mention insert name here. I'm only going to name the ones that I think were the biggest winners and losers for this year's Superstar Shakeup. So let's get started. So number one on my list for one of the biggest winners, I think, is going to be Mike Bennett. You didn't even see him on TV. I think they did like a web thing afterwards where they announced that Mike Bennett was moving from Smackdown over to the Raw brand. And interestingly enough, they didn't mention anything about Maria, at least not that I know of. So it looks like Mike Bennett, or Mike Kanellis, is going to be heading over to the red side all by himself. And this is perfect. Now, Mike Bennett, probably somebody that could have used a little bit of time in NXT, developed the character a little bit, but apparently he has some issues. Sauce issues, but he's all good. He's all well and good now. He's got a new kid on that just was born not too long ago, and he's looking to turn things around. And I think this move to Raw is going to help him to do that. Get a fresh start, new atmosphere, new audience. Let's see what they can do. Now here's a loser, and I don't mean that in a metaphorical sense either. I mean, like this guy was a jobber at one point, you know, Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal. Not only did he go over to Raw and lose his title the first night that he was there, a strange omen for what's going to be happening for the rest of his career on Raw, but he's moving from I don't want to say weak, but from a roster where he was one of the bigger men into another roster where he's one of the smaller ones. You know, you have people like Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. Yeah. So where does that leave Jinder Mahal? Jacked to the gills, that's what I say. But unfortunately for Jinder, I think it's back to the back of the class, if you know what I mean. No more runs for the United States Championship or the IC title or the World Championship or anything. I think Jinder Mahal is going right back to being sort of forgotten. And that means that Samir and Zaire are both going with him. Now, you want to talk about a winner? Here's a winner. Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Back together again on the Smackdown brand where they both belong. Now, me personally, I never thought that The Miz leaving Smackdown in the first place was a good idea. So it's great to see him back on the Smackdown brand where he's a little bit more freer to spread his wings. Again, another person that could have easily gotten lost in the shuffle on Raw, but worked his ass off to keep himself relevant, really, and to make that IC title relevant, as he would like to say. But having him back on the blue brand and the potential matchup between him and The Miz and Daniel Bryan, it's going to be fantastic. And are we going to get it really soon? Apparently they're already going to be doing some matches on the UK tour, so who knows? But are we going to see it in the United States soon on TV? I hope not. I hope it's something that drags on for a long time because I want to see these two at WrestleMania next year. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, WrestleMania 35. Now, you want to talk about another loser? I'm going to say the Raw Women's Division overall. Not only did the Raw Women's Division just lose Asuka, but what they picked up wasn't really that great. I mean, who the hell went over there? Oh, okay. It was the Riot Squad, which were B players over on SmackDown. You had Natalya, although a great veteran and can really help some of the younger girls elevate themselves, is not doing much on her own. And Ember Moon, who, I'm sorry, but I'm just not that into Ember Moon. I think she's a fantastic wrestler and everything, but her character overall is confusing. She's like a weird mix of regular person and supernatural person. I don't know, the eyes and everything. The whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think it's going to make sense to any other audience. So once the nostalgia of having not nostalgia, but once the allure of having the former NXT Women's Champion disappears, I don't think you got much else with Ember Moon. here is a big winner in my book. Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler together on the Raw brand. Now, we all know this has not been a great year for Dolph Ziggler overall, and a lot of complaining from both from Dolph Ziggler, and a lot of it warranted for the way that he was used on the Smackdown side, but for the way that he's been used for many years. Dolph Ziggler at one point was probably as over as anyone other than Cena in all of WWE, and has been relegated to some sort of fill-in for the past year or so, and put into spots where it just really didn't make any sense, and there was no real magic or chemistry with some of the things some of the storylines that he had. But now with Drew McIntyre in the picture, I see a little bit of a Drew McIntyre Diesel situation to Dolph Ziggler's HBK, and I think that could be some magic. So are we going to see the second generation of the Clique? I hope so, because I think it makes a lot of sense. Another big winner, I think, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy moves out of Raw, where he would be pretty much a small guy in a sea of giants. We're talking about Braun Strowman. We're talking about, hey, Roman Reigns is not like a giant, but Roman Reigns is a big dude, and it's definitely going to be pushed that way. And he moves over to a more wrestling-oriented, smaller division over on the SmackDown brand. It's going to be fantastic for him. He can make a legitimate run for the WWE title against AJ Styles or whoever the holder is, whether it's Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, or any of those other great people. You know, he has a legitimate shot of actually making that look good, making it work, and to elevate everybody else that's on that roster. So Jeff Hardy moving over to the SmackDown brand, over from Raw and away from Matt Hardy and what he's doing with Bray Wyatt. It's fantastic, and I'm glad to see him there. And finally, I think the biggest winner out of everybody here is somebody who didn't even move at all, is AJ Styles. Honestly, the people that he had to work with, I mean, besides Shinsuke, there was really nobody on that roster that he could have great matches with, that could make legitimate claims or legitimate pushes towards his championship. Now he's got people like Samoa Joe. He's got a return Daniel Bryan. He's gonna have The Miz. He's gonna have he's got Jeff Hardy. He's got a bunch of people that he can have some really great programs with. A lot of great wrestling matches. I think the Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles match is something that a lot of people are going to want to see. Of course, the real Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles match. You knew on that match last week that Shinsuke was coming out from the beginning, so you didn't invest yourself that much into it. But imagine a good match with with Bryan and AJ Styles on a big platform, a SummerSlam, a Royal Rumble. I'm not going to say WrestleMania because I want Bryan and Miz at WrestleMania. I just think that's a better story overall. So AJ Styles, though, big winner on this one. He got the support that he needed. He lost a couple of people. He lost Bobby Roode. But when you're talking about Bobby Roode versus Samoa Joe, I want to see AJ Styles and Samoa Joe over AJ Styles and Bobby Roode any day of the week. So AJ Styles, big winner on this day. So that's pretty much everything that I'm going to say on this one. Obviously, a lot more stuff happened on the Superstar Shakeup. A lot of people moved back and forth. Some of them were really fantastic moves. I think this year was a little bit more balanced than other years, where I felt like, at first I was feeling like, wow, SmackDown was really losing a lot of their top talent. But when we watched SmackDown on Tuesday, I think they got some of it back, especially the surprise of Samoa Joe. I think that was a big addition on that one. And so what they lost versus what they gained, Mandy Rose in the women's division, I think she's going to be somebody to be reckoned with in the future. So Sonya Deville, I really like those two over the Riot Squad, because Ruby Riott is fantastic, but the other two are just kind of like, wow. They're like, no. So, anywho, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked what you saw here today, please hit that like button, subscribe to your channel, as gonna have more content coming up. And if you disagree with me, you feel like I missed something, you think I'm just completely batshit crazy, hit that comment section, let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much, and see you around the shit.